I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So I did want to get into your interview because I feel like you were a very explosive player. Like I was very impressed by you in the tribal where Emily went. Like you were not backing down to anybody, and I think it was really interesting. So what were your feelings immediately after you were voted out?
So after I was voted out, um, it was a shock because that night, well, that day with the challenge and everything, I couldn't get onto Instagram. Like, I couldn't message anyone. I couldn't see any posts for whatever reason. Instagram was just not working for me. Like, I deleted the app multiple times, like a lot of times. Re-downloaded it, tried to use different devices, and for whatever reason, my account just wasn't working. So when I came on and to find out that I was voted out, it was shock, kind of a bit of hurt because the four original people from my normal tribe before the swap had all agreed to stick together no matter what. So I felt betrayed by them. Um, and it was a lot of emotions going around. I was annoyed that Instagram wasn't working. There was nothing I could have done.
Right. So you feel like your vote off was completely out of your control. Like you were just in a really shitty situation, and that's what happened.
Exactly. Like there was nothing I could have done because I couldn't message anyone. I couldn't get on call. I didn't even know we'd lost the challenge until Instagram had finally started working. So I was just praying because I was active for the time of the challenge. Just for whatever reason, I wasn't able to see anything like posts or anything.
Exactly. So, was there anybody in particular you were extremely blindsided by, or a couple of people? Like, can you give me their names?
Um, well, somebody going into the game I felt like I could have really trusted was Gonzalo. I really thought him and I would have been able to work together well, and it just never ended up happening. And he voted me out at that tribal. It was a shock.
Exactly. So, obviously, again, like I said, you were a very vocal player. You were somebody that definitely spoke your mind. What was your strategy
Yeah,
coming into this game? Like, do you feel like it changed from when the game started to when you were voted out?
not really. Like going into the game, I want like I don't know if it's hard. Like I wanted to lose the first immunity. That was my plan going in, like to lose. Because I wanted to see if people were gonna legitimately be loyal. And we did lose the first immunity like I had intended. The the challenge was a word unscramble, and I had like that was the final puzzle, and I had figured out the puzzle, and little by little I was giving the team a word. Like I give the team the last two words of the puzzle, even though I'd figured it all out. I didn't want to win, so it looked like I was contributing, but it didn't look like I was like purposely throwing it. And I give the tribers the answers, like the last two, and they couldn't figure it out. So when we went to tribal, they weren't going to vote me out, and after that, I was trying to build connections, like social connections, which clearly helped me in the second tribal. And then that last tribal that I went to just had nothing. Like I couldn't be social because I couldn't get on. So it didn't really change. Um, I do think after the Emily tribal, I did start to pick up my game a little bit more. Like I became more of an aggressive player, like trying to do things and make it my game instead of trying to play somebody else's game.
Yeah, I feel like again you were somebody that was kind of in the driver's seat in that sense. Like you wanted to take control, and I think that is very brave. And like I applaud you for that. I think you played a good game. So when you first saw the cast reveal, what were your thoughts? Like, what were your thoughts on the people you were playing with? Did you expect to go early, or did you expect to make it further?
Um, with this cast, a lot of these people were newbies to me. I'd never seen them before. So I did say going into the game, I was either going to be 20th, 19th, 18th, 16th, or 15th, or I was going to make it all the way to the final six or seven.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I went out 16th or 15th. Um, and so my prediction was right. Like I knew I was going to be one of the first ones out, or I was going to be one of the last people remaining. I didn't think I was going to win, but I thought I was going to make an impact. And I feel like even though I wasn't there for too long, I still did make an impact.
Right, and you did. So, can you walk me through kind of your thought process in the Emily tribal? Like, what were you thinking then?
that was a mess. Um, so what originally happened with that? I messaged Emily, and was like, "Your name has been brought to me, but trust me, I am not telling people to vote you. And if anyone tells me to vote you, I will try and change their mind." And that's what was happening. So people were coming to me, like Grant, and like loads of people were saying, "What do you want to do?" And I was pushing for the name, I was pushing for Grayson to
Mm-hmm.
go home a lot. Like anytime someone would talk to me, I'd be like, "These are the three names I've heard, but this is the one I've heard the most, which is Grayson." Even if it wasn't true, I was like, "Grayson, Grayson, Grayson," and I was in the driver's seat for the Grayson move. And then I heard from Grant, I believe it was, or Austin, one of the two, that Emily was throwing my name out. So I messaged Emily and I was saying, "Hey, what's up? Like, I told you this was the plan, and I told you I was like legitimately had your back." She didn't want to hear any of that, so she continued throws my name out. So I'm like, okay, she's throwing me out. I'm not just going to continue to throw Grayson out. So then her and I decided button heads over something that wasn't even true. Apparently, people were telling her that I was throwing her name out to be voted out, which wasn't true.
Right.
Like,
So,
don't get me wrong, I did throw her name out, but I threw it out and said, no, don't vote her. This is just what I've heard from others. Vote Grayson. But I never threw her name out as a target.
so do you feel like being vocal helped your game or did it hurt your game?
For that tribal, it definitely helped. Like if I just sat back and like let her throw my name out and I didn't do anything, I would have been out easy. Like there would be no doubt about that.
So, were you surprised when you stayed? Was it a blindside or did you think you were going to stay? Like, were you confident?
At the Emily tribal,
Yeah, at the Emily Tribal.
100% I thought I was going home because on Skype I was just getting weird vibes from everyone. Especially Grant because he was pulling a lot of facial expressions and Emily even saw that. So when everyone got up to vote, like people just started like talking and stuff like on Skype, and they were just like looking at each other, and like they were all laughing. Emily was laughing with them, and I was sitting there really quietly, and I was just thinking, okay, they're laughing with her. I'm gonna be the one to go. So it was a huge, huge shock. Like I haven't even saw like anything from that tribal. Like I haven't watched like any of the videos. I'm expecting my face to be shocked because I legitimately thought I was going home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, did remember your face. It was pretty shock. You were pretty like, what the hell? But
Really? Oh God.
yeah, but honestly, I think that you were an incredible player. And what do you feel? What are the factors that you feel helped you stay?
Um, being being honest, I think, because I think that Emily is known, also reputation for Emily, she's known to be like somebody who pops off. So people obviously were a bit like, if she's gonna pop off on him, they knew like other people knew the truth that I wasn't going after her to begin with. So I feel like since they knew the truth, and then her popping off, it kind of didn't make sense in their heads. And I don't, it doesn't, I don't really know too much. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can only remember, like, I can only obviously know what happened in my brain and what I did. I don't really know what was going through Emily's head or what other people were feeding Emily, and because everyone's got their own game plan, obviously. Um, for me, I just had to do what I had to do.
Right. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. So, at the point in the game where you left,
Yeah.
who did you think was playing the best game?
When I left, it was between, because I'm gonna say Austin and Grant. Probably Austin. I feel like he was playing a, a better game than Grant because Grant, like I said, at Tribal, his facial expressions were very like you could see them change like at the drop of the hat. So I feel like people at tribal councils would be able to read that if they had an idol, they'd be able to play it and stuff. So I feel like that's the only thing that dragged him down. Austin, on the other hand, I feel like he was a well-rounded player all over.
Okay. So, those are all my game related questions. Unless you have anything else to say, I'm going to ask you production questions.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, this game is like super different in the sense that there's like Discord and there's Skype, and it's just really interesting in that sense. As a player, we always like want to make this game as like good as possible. What would be some advice you would give us? Like, what are things you liked? What are things you didn't really like? Like, what could you tell us about the game from your perspective?
It sounds cliche, but it's honestly true. Everything that you, Drew, and Rocky did this season was perfect in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't change a single thing about how I played, even though I went out early. It's like the reason I made it to that spot in the game. Like, if I didn't fight as hard, I wouldn't have made it that far. But everything that you did as hosts was completely fair. It was unique with that vote like thing, the twist where you can keep your vote and then go to the next tribal with it. Like, it
Mm,
was all unique and it was like perfect. I absolutely loved it. There's
oh,
nothing I would change.
Jack, thank you so much. Okay, so the next question is, if you were ever given the chance to play again, would you?
100%. 100%. Like, I feel like the way I went out, it was very like it's like again, it's cliche. I got robbed, but like I feel like I legitimately did because I didn't get like at that tribal and that challenge. I didn't get the chance to fight for myself to say. I didn't get the chance to fight for immunity. Like I didn't get to speak to anyone, and that's what I like. The thing that I hold the most to me is social game. I'm very good that way,
Mhm.
and I know that if I was active, like not active, but if I was able to message people and like get on Skype and get on Discord with people, I know I wouldn't have left that tribal because I'm really good with my words.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, Jack. I think you're an amazing player. Like, you were definitely robbed, and I really hope to see you again. Is there anything you want to say to the people watching?
To the people watching, just this season like is crazy. Like if you haven't saw how crazy it is from these first few tribals, it's only going to get crazier from here. And if you even have any doubts about applying for if there is a season three, ignore them doubts and just go for it because this is such an amazing experience. And these hosts put so much like dedication in and time in and like it just shows. And also to you, Pal, and like Rocky and Drew, I just want to thank you so much for having me because this season was just unique, like you said, amazing and one hopefully not once in a lifetime because I really do want to return and I hope I'll get the
Mhm.
chance. But it was just amazing all around. So just keep doing it. It was amazing.